Hello again, lockpicking Paul here, and what I've got is a rather uninteresting 5-pin Yale rim lock, the kind of thing you see installed on people's front doors in the UK, extremely common. I think this is probably more the budget end of their offering. The materials don't feel great. It's die cast as opposed to brass. It's brand new. This has never been installed in a house before. It works really well. It's got some reasonable bitting. I have taken the circlip off of this because we are going to pick it open and gut it. Why bother with such an uninteresting lock? Well, I got this alongside some much more interesting locks on an eBay purchase, and I was just, but if I have a lock, I feel compelled to pick it open. And I'm glad I did in this case because I found something I hadn't seen before. I think it's a security mechanism in here, which makes the lock less secure. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So what I think we'll do is we'll just pick it open quickly in hand. And then we'll take the contents out and take a look. So there you go, that's open. I only picked 4 pins. It opened on the 4th pin, which is the thing that made me take it apart in the first place. And I think that probably took less time than it does to put the key in. So let's take it apart and we'll see what's in it. The interesting stuff is in the core there, and we'll get to that in a second. I am going to take the drivers out just because, to prove that there are actually pins in here and there is some security of sorts. So pin 1 is a standard. Pin 2 is a reasonably deep spool. Pin 3 is a standard. 4 is the same kind of spool again. And 5 is a standard. That's it, 5 pins, nothing else other than springs in there. Right, let's dump out here. Right, I'm just going to show you the core. That's the core. And obviously you can see that, let's zoom in, pin 5 is flush with the top of the cylinder. So you don't have to pick 5, it's flush. But hang on, the key's not in. Key's in now, still flush, and everything else is flush. Think about that for just a second. The bitting on that key should be moving that pin, but it's not. Now we'll take the first 4 pins out. Get out. Right, so we've got 1 pin left in the chamber. If I take that pin out and put it in the chamber next to it, so chamber 4, oh, would help if I put it in chamber 4 and not chamber 3, wouldn't it? If I say I'm going to do something, there you go, it sinks right in. Odd. The chamber, and I'll show you it here, you can just about make it out on camera I think, is much more shallow than the first 4 chambers. In fact, I can show you a different way. I've got a tyre depth gauge here. So this is a thing for testing how much tread is on your tyres. If I put that in chamber 4, push it down, that's how deep the chamber is. And if I now put it in chamber 5 and push it down, you can see it's considerably shallower. Now I can only think that this is some kind of anti-bump mechanism. So if you put a bump key in here, whacked it with a hammer, cause all the pins to jump, but you'd automatically drive the 5th pin up into the Bible, which I could imagine would work. But it does mean that you never have to pick the 5th pin. I mean, it does, I suppose, because it doesn't rake open this lock. I can't rake it open. I've tried. But then again, those deep spools would be pretty good protection against raking. So I don't think it's an anti-rake measure. I think it's possibly an anti-bump measure. But if it is an anti-bump measure, it's weakening another form of a defense against attack. So it seems like a bad idea. Anyway, it's the first time I've noticed this. Perhaps I have other locks with shallower chambers like this, but I've just never noticed. And most of my locks don't have keys. And the reason I noticed this one is when I took it out with the key and removed the key, the pin was still there. But anyway, I will be on the lookout for that now if I see it in any other locks. If anyone actually knows why that might be, for sure, I'd love to know about it in the comments. So that's all I had tonight. It was just a little bit of an oddity. Happy hunting and good luck with your picking. Cheers.